Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
Sorry. As long as 5 seconds ever. I'm John Popko from Timeshare My Communications with Rock 107, ESPN, and Alt 92.1.
Tonight we're here with Northeastern Pennsylvania Philharmonic friends Chelsea Rixner and Alex MacNamara. So we're here obviously to talk about the Philharmonic, which you may have read in local media that it's done and gone away, but that is not true. We're here to dispel all those rumors and everything tonight. So we're not only going to talk about the orchestras suspending their season, but finding funding for the arts, making classical and orchestral music relevant to younger audiences, music education, the future of the Philharmonic, and much more. So if you're interested in any of those topics, if you have any questions for us or our guests, please leave them down below, and we'll answer those questions and comments live. So please participate. The show is so much better when we hear from you guys. So please let us know what you think kind of as we go along. So now before we get to the interview, we have some beers to drink from Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre.
We do, and I want to start off by, so Beer Boys is bringing back their award-winning happy hour, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday from 9 to 11, and Friday and Saturday, 8 to 12. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's pretty exciting. It's packed down there already.
Oh, I know. It's already crazy.
I got there at like 6:20, and it's already like there's not a seat in the bar yet.
So what beers do we have on tap today?
So we have one from Thomas Creek. It's called Monkey Barrel Stout. Pizza Boy Trodac Soul Ale. We'll save that for Brittany if she decides to show up. And Summit Keller Pils. So,
All right.
And you don't drink beer.
I'm giving it a try tonight.
For
Okay.
us, just for
Just
us.
for
Okay.
you guys.
Okay.
We appreciate that.
That's
Yeah.
what I like to hear. So let's start with the good one.
All right.
We can't drink the sour one because we're
No.
gonna save that entire.
Brittany will cry about it the whole time.
We're gonna save that entire beer for her. Where is she, anyways?
Oh, she was shooting a newborn, which started at 4, and it is apparently still going on. So you know how that
Photographing or
is.
shooting?
Right.
Yeah, actually, just well, it started out.
just murders,
she was, photographing, but then it wouldn't cooperate, so she just shot.
She
the
shot
baby.
it again.
Gotta get some still shots somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, my newborn will be better than that. We're actually I got a date. The date is December 26th.
So,
Very nice.
Thank you. If he doesn't come sooner on his own, he
Yeah.
will be here on or the next day, whenever.
So, in other words, he's going to be one of those people that only gets presents once a year. 'Cause
Yeah, he's
Christmas,
screwed.
and-
Right.
I win.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm
It
just gonna
works
give you-
for
I'll give
you
you
as a
I'll give you a
parent.
spit. Is that good?
Perfect.
All right. See, these are different cups, so that's for her. So I'm not really good at judging
you.
judging the amount here.
It looks like motor oil.
It does.
It
It looks,
does.
but it looks like it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, probably.
And,
Okay, I can drink that.
See?
I like
Probably is.
Right? Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing?
So you're
It's sort of
probably
like a beer milkshake.
Yeah.
yeah. So you're probably one of those people who had a bad experience like years ago in college.
Oh no, I do an annual taste test of
Okay.
different beers just to
Just to make sure you don't like
because
it.
I want to like it. I
Right.
want to.
It's convenient.
And it's so much less expensive than like straight alcohol.
Yeah.
So, this I'll need to figure what was this one again?
This is the stout.
Yes, this is the Thomas Creek Monkey Barrel Stout. And
Thank you, Beer Boys,
Yes.
for this beer. Is the first beer I've actually drank and liked in my entire life.
Wow.
Wow.
You heard it here
That is
first.
Wow.
That is a strong endorsement. Okay.
So Beer Boys.
Beer
You
Boys.
just didn't know you liked a stout.
I just didn't. No.
There you
North
go.
Washington Street, Wilkes-Barre.
And the great thing about them too is you can try so much too. They'll let you sample
Yeah.
things and things like that. So,
Yeah.
if you're one of those people that will try to narrow down, like, okay, what kind of things do you like?
Right.
Well, what are your tastes, that sort of thing, and they'll find you the right beer.
Yeah.
So you picked well.
Did you tell them how many beers on tap?
72.
72.
Wow. Good deal.
We have to always mention that. So we also want to give out a shout out to one of our other sponsors, the Keys in downtown Scranton. Their open mic is on Thursday. This Saturday is Das Black Milk and Girls Galore for a night of festive indie rock. So if you're an indie rock fan, you should definitely be there. They also completely saved our asses this weekend. I will tell that story at the end of the show. So if you're interested in what happened to the NEPA Scene Fest at the Backyard Ale House that ended up becoming the NEPA Scene Fest at the Keys. So that's a whole crazy story in itself. I'll definitely tell that at the end of the show, but we want to get to our guests and their stuff first. Our newest sponsor is the V-Spot in Scranton, which I can't say enough nice things about those guys. They're one of the biggest and most popular bars in Northeast PA, so they probably don't need any introduction from me. But they have live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Angelina on Thursday, Mountain Sky Orchestra on Friday, London Force's final show ever on Saturday, so which is a big bummer if you know anything about London Force. They're an amazing party band. To call them a cover band would just be a complete disservice to what they do. They definitely elevate everything that they do. They do a lot of alternative rock covers, things you don't normally hear, but things you'll know from the radio, things you would know from, say, like Alt 92.1 and things like that. But you wouldn't typically hear cover bands on a Friday or Saturday night do. But I mean, they've been around since 2011. Great band. We do have an article about that on the site if you want to learn more. So if you go to our front page, you'll learn more about that. But sad to see those guys go. So if you're going anywhere this Saturday, you should definitely check them out if you want to drink and party and dance. So and karaoke with DJ Huff is on Sunday. So, and of course, this Tuesday is the NEPA Scene's Rising Talent final showcase. So it's a mouthful, but there's 13 original acts, musicians and comedians. It's going to be a great time. It's $8 in advance, so please get your tickets. We actually have them printed out here. You can see the artists. You can see me. You can message me. You can email me. Whatever. I will get them to you if need be. I saw that.
My time is not valuable.
But so thank you to Vinny for becoming our newest sponsor. We're going to have a lot of fun with them. I'm sure we're going to have Vinny on the show at some point. We've been talking about it for a while. So now we're definitely going to have him on. So that'll be an interesting one.
Now, I've not been to one yet, but I heard this was probably the best one yet, like the best series.
I think so. I would say. I mean, definitely the biggest crowds we've ever had in the 3 years that we've been running live events. Definitely the most interesting and diverse crowds of people who are showing up to play. We had a little bit of everything this season. We not only had music and comedy, but we had poetry. We had sort of performance art. We had live hula hooping of all things, like just a crazy amount of talent. Really, really cool stuff. And some very interesting and original acts ended up making it into the finals. So you really don't want to miss that. We will not be live streaming it. So you can't cheat and just tune into our Facebook and watch the whole thing on there. You have to be there to see it.
Damn it. And I would imagine that it has to do with the growth of NEPA Scene, but also the venue.
Yeah, it absolutely has to do with the venue.
The venue.
The V-Spot was a great spot for it. It was funny because when we started there, they were like, Vinny was all about it. Vinny knew what he was getting into, and really wanted to do it and support it. And some of the bartenders were like, I don't know if this is the right fit. Like, this is going to be weird for us. It's something we've never done before, and that kind of thing. And by the first two nights or so, they were like, "Wow, this is amazing! I'm so glad we did this." They look forward to it now. They're thrilled to have it, and they're sad to see it go for the season because we're not going to be back until sometime next year. So you'll have to go to the finals and find out. We're going to make our announcement there when and if we're going to be back. So please stay tuned. Please come down to the V-Spot this Tuesday because our fundraiser was a little bit of a bust because of the snow. So it'd be really great to see some of those people who didn't make it out to that come to this Tuesday, because the door money goes right to NEPA Scene. So we would really appreciate it if you guys came. And then finally, Loyalty Barbershop and Shave Parlor is a sponsor as well. They have locations in Scranton, Archibald, and a new one in Wilkes-Barre, which is on South Main Street, where the old Cafe Metro was. So if you missed the old Cafe Metro, they still have pieces of the Metro.
Still grungy.
Still there.
Good.
Yeah, it's nice and cleaned up, but
No hardcore music. Yeah.
There's only so far you can clean that up.
they saved pieces of the wall with
Oh
all
my
the
God.
writing and stuff
I
on
spent
it.
so much time there. I
Yeah.
mean, like, you might not believe it, but I spent a lot
Yeah.
of time there in high school.
So-
I can't believe it's not, well, I can believe it's not there,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
glad that they left a little homage. That's good.
Yeah, there's still little bits and pieces
Yeah,
left.
yeah. That Wilkes-Barre hardcore scene, you
I know, right?
gotta keep it in good
Represent.
shape, right? That's right.
And book your appointments now at the Loyalty Barbershop in Scranton, Archibald, and Wilkes-Barre.
Especially
because
for the holiday season.
it's going
because
to
be
crazy.
insane. They already have crazy lines as it is a lot of the
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
So
So-
do not wait. You can book online. But all right, so we want to get into the Philharmonic, but before we do that, we would just like to talk about you two ladies for a couple minutes. Now you guys are not in the actual orchestra themselves, just to make that clear for everybody who's
That's
listening.
correct.
You guys are not playing in the orchestra.
No.
So tell us what you do.
We're both board members.
Yes.
Chelsea has been on the board for 4 years. I'm a really recent board member, but actually when I moved back here from New York, Chelsea was one of the first friends I met and kind of roped me into this, and it's been just such a pleasure to meet so many great
Yeah.
people through the board and go, attend so many great performances, and it's a very strong, close-knit group of people. for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so we're both on the board, and then I'm actually the treasurer of the board as well. So so I've been on the board for 4 years now, I'm going into my 4th season, and then Alex is just going into her 1.5.
My first season, my
Full
second
season.
month.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been on it for a minute, but I've been involved as a.
Right.
We used to have something called the Friends of the Philharmonic,
Right.
which was sort of a younger group, and we would have fundraisers
Right.
and try to get a little bit of a younger crowd out.
And that was good, but it was a really big time commitment, and it was basically Alex and me running it, and we both also have jobs and other nonprofits that we're involved in, and it was just, there are only so many things you can do at one time, and we sort of had to pool our resources and realize that maybe being on the board and reaching out to a younger crowd that way would be a better use of our time.
Definitely more effective, for
Yes.
sure. Just to put
Yes.
your time and energy actually, on the
Right.
official board, and then do outreach. From
Right,
there.
just because at the time being, we just didn't have the resources to expand it more into, sort of a young person's auxiliary or young professional's auxiliary. So I've been on the board for 4 years, but Alex has also been very involved for the past 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your interest in the Philharmonic? Why did you feel it was important to participate in that part of it?
I grew up with music. I grew up singing with the Choral Society of Northeastern Pennsylvania from the time that I was in 6th grade. So I was always passionate about music and about classical music and about the requiems and all those things. And then even through college, I stayed very involved in the arts. I actually worked as a set builder all through college for the theater department. And when I lived in Philadelphia, I would find myself on Sundays going to the final performance of the Philadelphia Symphony or something of that sort. So it was always just a passion. And when I moved back to this area, Sally Bolin actually cornered me and said, I'd really like to talk to you about a project. And I sat down with Sally and Sandra Myers, who are longtime supporters of the Philharmonic and just incredible activists in our community. And they said, we really think you should be involved in this. And I don't know anyone who can say no to those two women. So that sort of started my involvement. And I know that Sally also cornered you.
Yeah.
And wrangled you in through your,
Through my mother.
Yeah.
She was with my mother, and she was like, so, your daughter just moved back from New York City. What is she doing with her free time?
Right.
And then all of a sudden I met Chelsea.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
And you also have a very strong arts background.
Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up very similarly to Chelsea, you know, with a lot of music in my life, and, you know, I love the opera, I love going to the opera, Lincoln Center, you know, and just, I've always loved chamber music, you know, working in college, I worked for a couple that really introduced me to chamber music, and I used to go to concerts with them, and that was always really lovely, and it's always been a passion of mine. You know, my talents definitely lie in visual arts. I'm completely inept when it comes to any sort of musical talent, but it makes me a great appreciator. So that's really where my love comes from. And also, I just really believe in the perpetuation and the continuance of arts and culture in our area. So anything I can do to help and aid in that, I feel really strongly about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was this? Why do you think that the Philharmonic in itself is so important? Not to say above other arts, but to say that why does it need to be part of the community? Why does it need to stick around?
Why doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's it provides such a great cross section of arts and culture, and for people of diverse backgrounds. And you know, some people might be saying diverse backgrounds going to the Philharmonic, you have to be kidding me. But you know, in preparing to do this, Alex and I talked a lot about some of the outreach programs that we do, and we have one program in particular that we did with a group down in Hazleton, where we took you know, young adults who they had been kicked out of high school, they had been kicked out of GED programs. This was basically like their last shot. And we introduced them to the Philharmonic, and they were only supposed to come to one concert. And they said, you know, could we actually come to every concert? You know, so, I mean, music is music. It's something that everyone can feel in their soul.
Yeah, you don't really have to have any knowledge to be able to, about music, to really feel music, which is different than something like abstract art. I mean, it can evoke an emotion, but you might be able to much better understand it if you have the educational background and all the theory and critical knowledge. But with music, it's such a universal language. And I also think that, you know, being, you know, like Philadelphia, New York, you know, like all these cities, Boston, you know, they have a Philharmonic, and it's like, you know, we're actually a really great city here in Scranton and in Wilkes-Barre, and why not? Why wouldn't we have a Philharmonic, you know? I mean, I think that it's absolutely something our area is deserving of, and that we have certainly the capacity to appreciate, and I think that there's definitely a need for that level of cultural education and experience. So, yeah, like let's give ourselves that, because we deserve it.
And not only that, you know, like it's $15 for students to go to a full concert. You know, so it's a very affordable,
it's very
accessible program also. And for people who don't know a lot about the music, or maybe they do know a lot about the music and they're really excited about it. I mean, there are people in our community who they might, you know, be working, you know, their 9-to-5 job and whatnot, but they may have also studied violin for 12 years. You know, so it's not just people who are in the arts who care about the arts. So it's important that's available to everyone.
Right.
Would this be a good time for the wine?
Please.
Okay. I felt like you were trying to set me up for it, and I really wasn't sure when to go into it. Okay.
I'm a bad wing woman. I didn't set up well for it. Just,
so
we were talking a little bit earlier,
right?
You know, speaking of things that everyone can appreciate, and maybe it's not so obvious to you, you know, who's the music appreciator, but it's sort of like how everyone can appreciate wine.
Right. So there we go. All right.
You hate beer. I hate wine.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, all right.
Okay.
So
all
right.
Really?
So
Okay.
we can. So you just have to
How do
find
you
the
feel
right
about chamber music?
Right. Right.
I don't know that either.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you
you
haven't
don't.
had it yet. How do you know if you don't like it if you haven't had it yet?
Well, I've had wine. I try every wine that my
I've
wife
tried a lot of beer.
used to drink.
And look at tonight.
Tonight's the night.
Yeah,
So-
every time I drink wine, it tastes the same.
But
sick
so
of it.
but so here's
Don't kill her metaphor.
yeah.
Right?
So here,
Sorry.
So here's the thing. Wine is like this very accessible thing that, you know, everyone from like college kids in their dorms drinking out of a box of Francia to sommeliers who have been studying the craft of wine their whole lives. They all want wine in their lives for some reason. It might be for different reasons, but it still has a place in their lives. And you don't have that first or fifth or 10th glass of wine and automatically say, well, you know, I know so much about wine. I really appreciate wine now. I totally get it. You know, sometimes it takes honing. Sometimes it takes trying a few different things. Sometimes it takes saying, you know, I'm going to figure out why people are crazy about California wine because I don't get it. Or saying, you know what, I am crazy about California wine, so now I'm going to do everything I can to learn everything about California wine. You know, it takes time to build an appreciation, but that doesn't mean that you can't just walk in and order something off the menu and appreciate it either. You know, so you can build a deeper appreciation of it, but there's no expectation that the first time you hear a piece of music, you're going to know, you know, where Trodac was in his time period, what he was thinking about when he was composing a certain piece. But if you get really into his compositions, then you'll learn about, oh, wow, you know, that piece was really about this, and now I appreciate that much more. Sure. You liked it before, but you can build an appreciation for it. And not only that, I mean, there are people who are season ticket holders to the Philharmonic who hate jazz music. Mm-hmm. Hate it. We did a Louis Armstrong concert, I think 3 seasons ago. And there were people there like, jazz? Really? Like, that's the kind of rubbish we're playing now? And then we had other people from the community saying, oh my gosh, the Philharmonic is finally playing something that's relevant to me. You know, so we have a lot out there. And the other thing is that, you know, Philharmonics, so Alan Gilbert, who has been the long-esteemed musical director of the New York City Philharmonic, is finally leaving. And both of his parents played for the symphony and all this as professional musicians. And one thing that he said was that orchestras across the country, this is nothing special to the Northeastern Pennsylvania Philharmonic. Every orchestra across the country has the same problem. You need to find the fine line between new music to stay vibrant and traditional music to stay financially solvent. So where do you strike that? And that sort of strings back. Right.
I mean, we did with our last show of the season.
Right. Our last big show
Our
of the
last
season.
big show of the season.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Larry's last show.
Right.
That's why, you know, I always think it was the last show because it was Larry's last show. But
which was amazing.
It was amazing, and it was sold out. And, right, exactly.
It was the music of John Williams, a la Star Wars.
Yeah. And it was, you know, that's something that people can, like, you know, that just hits on so many chords. You know, that's so relevant, yet so...
artistic.
Very artistic. And really profound.
Right.
And it changed a culture.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, that's a brilliant, like, if we could just strike that all the time, but you can't. But that's why, you know, that kind of concert is sort of like, it's sort of like what Andy Warhol is to fine art and contemporary, you know, contemporary modern art. It's like a gateway drug. You're like, oh, you like that? You're going to love this.
Right.
Like, just come on, like, try it. You know, like, you like it.
Like, we've got something for everyone.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, something for everyone. It's just like, you kind of have to just build, you know, like just try this. Like, you're going to see that, like, you're not going to hate it. You might actually really love it. And then, you know, you kind of open up an entire world of experience that maybe you didn't know.
Right. Like,
you
we had a harp chamber concert last year, which was beautiful. And Alex and I went together because we were both super excited about this concert. But before you met me, I was talking with a gentleman who was like, yeah, like, my wife dragged me here. I really don't even get why the harp is considered like an orchestral piece and why it's doing its own concert. Yeah. And afterwards, he was just said, you know, I'm so happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of my life consists of that.
Of being wrong?
Well,
or
yes,
wrong?
Wrong. Yeah. No, but, like, you know, like, my wife wanted to go to, you know, Maine one year for our anniversary, and, like, it was 10 hours away of driving, and I didn't want to go, but I went, and it was the best time ever. So she constantly gets me to do stuff that I wouldn't normally do, and that's kind of what, you know, coming into this, I've never seen this performance before, but I probably would enjoy it if I was, you know, if I went.
Yeah. You're an appreciator of music. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's really not all that far off.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like what, you know, I was gonna ask you guys to sell me on the whole thing, because I think there's a lot of people like me out there who just, no, I won't, that's not for me. I don't like that.
Right.
It just won't go.
Right.
But if I'm like told about it and it's kind of like educated to me, I'll give it a shot.
Well, and that's why something like, that chamber concert was at WBI was so fantastic, because between each piece, what was his name? It's escaped me. He was so brilliant, but he would explain each piece. And, he really walked the audience. That's a great studio. It's a very intimate setting.
It can seat 81 people.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like, that's the perfect time for someone to go who's like, I don't really know about this. So you go, and then you're sort of led through this, this concert, and you learn so much, and it's fascinating pretty much across the board. It's really interesting to hear about this music and why it was relevant and what story is being told, and it's so much more than just like going and like sitting for an hour of like droning music.
Right.
Like, there's so much more to it, and having that explained to you is such a great interactive experience.
Right. Yeah. And then also just hearing also from the musicians, how they have connected to the pieces, because even if you're sitting there saying, well, like, this piece I don't care for, you can understand the time and effort and passion that this person has had to put into becoming a professional musician. Just think about it.
And to learn a piece that's so complex is really an incredible feat.
Think about it. We at any time can have, over 60 professional musicians up on that stage performing just for the people in our area. That takes so much passion and dedication, because our musicians, some are from this area, and even if they're playing for the Philharmonic in New York City or in Philadelphia, or I was trapped in the airport for like 27 hours on Monday, Sunday into Monday. There was a lot of crying going on, and as like one of our good friends came to pick me up, I get a text message from one of the violinists who plays in our orchestra. She said, "Hey, I saw that you're stuck in the airport. Are you still there? Because like I'm here now too. Do you want to grab a drink?" Because she was on her way down to play with an orchestra in Florida. They're not just, it's a second-rate orchestra. We have top-tier musicians who love coming here and who love playing for us, and they love that they get to share their gift with the people here. Yeah. And that's why so many of them are also involved with our mentorship program.
Right. Which is so incredible. And, even we recently had a concert at the Kirby Center for Creative Arts, and that was with Fei Fei Dong, and she gave an incredible piano recital. I mean, absolutely stunning. But she worked with some students while she was there and did a whole day's workshop with them, and to have that experience as a young musician is just something. If you're a young musician or a young artist or even just a young person, you remember those moments of mentorship for the rest of your life, and they do so much to shape you. And I think to not have opportunities like that is really doing our community such a disservice. But I mean, our mentorship is fully funded. Right. That won't go anywhere.
Right. And it's not this mentorship program that like you sign up and you're in it. Like, we actually have day-long auditions for this. Yeah, so really, I mean, these
really
are
prestigious. It's a very prestigious
program. And it's for middle school and high school students who, have a passion for this, and they actually get to train with our orchestra members, and at the end of the season, they get to have their own concert. And throughout the year, they might play at like little chamber events with us as well. So
they come out to fundraisers. They get a lot of crowd exposure. Yeah. It's a really wonderful
and
experience.
It's even just so exciting, like meeting their parents. Yeah. Because we have scholarships available for these students also, so that if they can't afford the tuition price, it's okay. Like if you have the talent and the will to be here, like we'll make sure you're here. Yeah. And just talking with the students and talking to the parents, I mean, getting to see so many people share the same passion together. Yeah. Like, whether you like Tchaikovsky or not, you can't deny that there's something beautiful about people coming together to just be excited about culture and art and bonding together over that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, today when everyone's just so, everyone's so busy and focused on 10 million things all at the same time, you know, music really forces you, more than a movie, more than, you know, any sort of, you know, any other kind of performance art, I think, to really focus.
Right.
Which is like such a beautiful, rare thing now. Like no one does that.
Right.
No one's just like, you know, no one just like shuts up and focuses. Like everyone's just like thinking about a million different things. It's so, I don't know, it's very, very consuming, and there's something very, very sort of magical that happens when you're in a theater focused on music. It's sort of enchanting. It's really cool.
Yeah. So to go back to your original question of why do we need the Philharmonic in our community, you know, as a board, we actually struggled with that question as well when we realized the position that we were in. That we said, you know, well, does the community want us as much as we want to be in the community? And we took a look around at, of course, our mentorship students, but also our sponsors. You know, the Kirby Center, WVIA, Llewellyn McCain, Rock Street Music Productions, Cole Creative, Prudential, PNC,
Wyoming Seminary.
Marks, Wyoming Seminary. Now I got myself into a tailspin that I don't want to get in trouble for forgetting a sponsor, and I'm so sorry. All of our loyal sponsors who, when we came out with the fact that we wouldn't be able to financially perform a full season, no one said, well, give me my check back.
Right.
You know?
Everyone was like, okay, we're going to see you through this.
Right.
Because this is something we do want. We think that this is something our area deserves, needs, and wants.
Right. And they have been so generous. And, you know, now that we're sort of through, you know, the first round of like, no, we really are doing this, we've had some really great turnout and some really just amazing support from people, from lifetime donors to people who came to our to Larry's last concert saying, you know, I'm sorry that it took me so long to get to you, but now that I did, please stay.
Yeah, there's enough of that to prove to the board that this is absolutely something that we're 100% dedicated to.
Right. So when we were going through all of this, we actually had a conversation that said, you know, all right, let's see what happens come October when we have, you know, when we wrap up Larry's final concert. Let's see where we stand financially and in terms of where we are with the community. And we'll go from there, because even our staff, we've got 2 full-time staff members running all of this.
Yeah.
So if anyone is looking for volunteer opportunities, please call our office. We have got them lined up for you. But and I mean that in all seriousness also, like if anyone needs
like high school students, anyone, like if you need volunteer opportunities, it's a great way to volunteer.
Right, absolutely. But you know, we said come October, we need to make a decision if we're going to be able to keep doing this or if we just have to be out of the game.
Sure.
Yeah.
And by the end of September, we were just like, well, I guess we're still doing this. You know, it just became apparent even at that point.
Yeah.
That, okay, like, come October, we just need to be full speed ahead. And, I mean, we've done an entire year's worth of programming and events to stay engaged with the community, too.
And, I mean, and you can find those events on our website, on our Facebook page. You know, I think we try to really get our materials out there, and that's such a struggle as a nonprofit or a business. I just feel like, you know, it's never enough. You know, you can come at people from all angles, and people, you know, but you'll still have a fabulous event, and you know, you'll go to like your neighbor, and they'll be like, I didn't know that you were doing that. But like, I mean, you do have to have a little bit of an active part in saying like, you know what, like I do want to support this cause. Like that sounds like a cool event. Like, you know, I'm gonna pursue it and look for it.
Right.
But
Yeah. And like we've really been focusing also on doing more with marketing, because so including Cole Creative has donated so much to us in terms of marketing resources. Their intern Jess, who is now apparently on her 3rd full-time day, she's back there, and
she's done an awesome job.
She's done an amazing job for us, like truly just, and that's such a relief for our staff also. And one of the things that we saw as we realized that we were really struggling, we said, okay, like we need to turn this around yesterday. And how did we get to this point? And the fact of the matter is that our Philharmonics trajectory is not special. You know, we look at our numbers from 2007 to present, and they track with every other orchestra nationwide. And it was really amazing, too, to see as I was going through, you know, this deep dive with our strategic planning committee of realizing that in the year that we lost the funding to have a full-time marketing person, we made no other changes other than dropping our full-time marketing position, and our ticket sales went down $100,000 in revenue.
Wow.
And that was the only change we made. There were no other staffing changes. There were no other programming changes. So marketing really is just like a huge deal. And, you know, Cole Creative has done an amazing job just trying to pick that up for us.
Yeah, they've really lifted us up.
Yes.
And it made all the difference in the
Yeah.
world. But,
Fortunately, I mean, I've been in advertising and marketing for 12 years, and I feel like that's the first thing everyone always cuts.
yeah.
Right. And it's like, hey,
so
Foot,
crazy.
what's up?
Yeah.
Boom.
It's so important. And I'm not saying that because that's how I make my living, but if you don't know about it, how do you expect people to go?
And not
Right.
only that, you need someone who can understand your mission and your message and also understand how to convey that to the public. Because
Sure.
Exactly, in a relevant way. And I mean, no matter what it is, like you should really be able to, you know, marketing is sales, right? I mean, you should be able to sell whatever you've got going on, and you know, marketing it's always the first thing to cut, and it's
Right.
often like the last thing to be replaced.
right.
And so, you know, in that gap, you know, everyone thinks that you're going along just fine until your side's wiped.
Right.
So, I mean, it's been really helpful, and I think it's going to continue to be really great now that we're working with these
Yeah.
guys. But
Yeah.
we should talk about February 9th.
We should talk about everything.
We really should.
We really should. So we have a number.
January 20th. Oh my God. we have
Yeah,
so much
right,
going
right.
on.
That's why I'm like, back up.
Yeah,
Right.
before we get into that, you gotta try another beer.
Okay.
You have to.
Okay.
You're in it
choice.
now.
I'm in it to win it.
Yeah.
Do you?
You're deep
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I won't give you a lot in case you don't like it.
Thank you.
This is very different than the last one.
Okay.
This is the Summit Keller Pils.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's
To
more.
Beer Boys.
Yes. To be your boys. Let's see how this one goes.
It's a lot different than the last one.
I don't think I've ever seen Chelsea drink beer.
I know. This one's very peachy. Am I wrong? Am I right?
It does have a fruit forward
Yeah.
taste to it.
Yeah.
You all right? You good?
I'm good. I'll get through it.
Do you want a spit cup? No.
Yeah.
Just like a bucket.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so as we mentioned before, we do have like a full year of programming lined up. So Alex talked about
I jumped
Fei
the gun on
And-
the 9th, but on
Yeah, we actually
the
had
20th.
to like bring a cheat sheet just because there's so many different events going on that
Yeah, there really are. So, I mean, right, like our season is dark, but it's actually
very bright.
not at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
our
actually very
season's dark,
bright.
our future is bright. That should be its tagline.
That should be the tagline.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So on Saturday, January 20th, at St. Stephen's Cathedral here in Wilkes-Barre, our fabulous clarinetist, Pascal Archer, who
yeah.
is a total dear heart, along with violinist Emily Frederick and cellist Caleb Vonderschwag, and pianist Spencer Meyer are playing Messiaen's Quartet for the End of Time, which is beautiful. So that's going to be thrilling. And so that's going to, again, be some more like traditional chamber music. But then in February, we totally switch gears.
We're totally switching gears, and the Indigo Moon Brass Band, for those of you who don't know, is a fabulous brass band. And
Fabulous
it's sort of a
brass
New
band.
Orleans style jazz
Yeah,
brass
jazz,
band.
funk.
So much fun.
My favorite song that they play is Crazy in Love by Beyonce. with like, you know, like a tuba and trombone
It's just, like,
and
it's
trumpet
great. Like,
and
Yeah.
You'll see them, like, they're always out on St. Patrick's Day in Scranton,
Yeah.
like, basically playing in the street, like,
Yeah.
out, like, spilling
Sure.
out of the bog. Like, they're
Yeah.
just a fun time. Like, it's a really
Yeah.
good time. It's definitely, like, a party atmosphere.
right.
And so that's going to be at Kappa. That's going to be, I always call it Kappa. It's the Creative and Performing Arts Academy
Right.
of NEPA. But so that's in the Ritz building, where Terra Preta is in the bottom.
In
There's
downtown
awesome,
Scranton.
Right, in downtown Scranton. There's awesome parking right across the street.
Right. Awesome free parking right across the
Exactly,
street.
exactly.
Make sure you get that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, see, I mean, like
Yeah.
in Scranton, that's invaluable.
Right.
So there is free parking, and you know, there's going to be food and drinks and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And tickets are only $25, and it's just going to be a really, really great time.
Right.
And I've been in that.
That space
that
is
space
cool.
is so cool because
It's-
it's the old Ritz Theater,
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's sort of this like round circular bar, and it's kind of like going back in time.
It
It's
really,
gonna be really
it's
fun.
almost like it's the perfect
Yeah.
place for them to play though.
It's perfect.
'Cause they're sort of
It
like,
matches.
yeah.
The atmosphere matches the music,
Right.
and the food's going to be awesome. Who's doing the food for that again? Is
I
it Terra Preta? Is it
I'm not
TBD?
sure who's doing food, but I was
Hmm.
I don't want to say anything on Facebook Live in case I'm wrong and I hurt people's feelings. So
All right, then we
Just
won't.
do it.
yeah,
Better
yeah,
safe than sorry.
right. But so then we have at WVIA in March we have a piccolo player. Who is going to be playing, which I always just find really fascinating because you either play piccolo really, really, really exceptionally well, or like you shouldn't. you know, and it's really easy to
Yeah.
get like scratchy on it.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah. You will only hear exceptional
Right,
piccolo music.
right.
There is no mediocre.
right,
piccolo
like
playing.
it's either going to be really
Yeah.
exceptional or like. All right, so that's exciting, and then WVI is hosting a lot for us.
I know. Which is
Yeah.
that's really like
Right.
that's my favorite. That's one of my
It's
favorite
and
spaces
it's
to
a
hear.
great space.
It's so perfect.
Yeah, and then they
Um,
always have really good food for us afterwards too.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice date night. Like if you
Right.
go to, you know, Pazzo or something before
Right.
or after.
Even though I've only ever done date night there with you.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. One day I'll get Tim
It'll
to
be
go.
the best date night.
It'll be the best date night.
So yeah, so that's really fun. It's a great location. It's between Wilkes-Barre and Scranton,
Right.
so it's accessible, it's affordable, it's a really
Right.
good time. And again, it's a very intimate setting, so it's very
Right.
interactive. You go, you know, you're not just sitting there listening to music. You're really hearing all about the artist,
And-
their relation to each
And it's a
piece.
shorter program. It's only about like an hour 60 or
Yeah.
90-minute program, so it's not, you know, going to drag on, if you will. So at the very least, if you don't like it, you're not there for a really long time.
If you're in pain and you hate it, you're
Right.
like, I can't stand this
Right.
live music, then you can,
Right.
you know.
Right. We actually have our former cellist Jeremy Lamb coming back then later in the season. He's in March, and Jeremy used to always play yoga on the roof for us, which is one of our favorite fundraisers that we do. It was started
Yeah.
by Jaya Yoga in Clark Summit, and that's always a great event. And Jeremy used to be like the token cello player for that, and then he got swept up by another symphony because he's exceptionally talented. But so when he found out where we were, he actually reached out to us and said, you know, I love you, I miss you, whatever I can do, whatever I can do,
Yeah.
let me know. And we're like, great, come play. So he's
But
doing,
we've had so many people
right,
do just that, is reach out to us and be like,
Right.
I want to help you, and
right.
we just we so appreciate
Right. Even
that.
like the Charleston Symphony has actually reached
Yeah.
out to us, and they've offered to help us put together some benefits because 7 years ago they were exactly where we are now. Where again, like I'm reading off of notes that I was like jotting down to make sure that I was
Yeah.
prepared for this.
But again, it's not a death sentence. Like I mean,
Right.
you're
I'm-
so capable of
Right.
coming back, and we're doing, you know, we're making all these
Right.
steps to make sure that we have a Philharmonic that lasts for
Right. Like Charleston has come
Forever,
back,
you know?
Binghamton has come back,
right.
Syracuse has
in a
come
big
back.
Way. Yep.
You know, all of these orchestras, again, like I said, we don't have any special problems.
No.
We just have them a little bit later than everyone else did,
Which is actually
yeah. I mean, it tracks with Northeastern Pennsylvania that everything's a little bit later.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a 5-year delay.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
of course
but-
we're having this problem
Right.
now.
But at the same time, it means that we haven't had to reinvent the wheel. You know, we've
Right.
had, can I curse on here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Like, we've had those oh shit moments of, and
Yeah.
every single one of us has had those moments where, like, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah.
And then we get calls from other orchestras because the orchestra community nationwide is actually very small. So we get these calls saying, you know, you guys are actually doing better than we were. You know, because we hear about these orchestras who have millions of dollars of debt and came back. And we're, like, freaking out over, like, not even a tenth of that.
Right.
You know, we've got nowhere near the
Right.
debt that all these orchestras have.
Right.
I think part of it is that we've worked so closely with so many of these people that we just really care about it too.
Yeah, I mean, the mentorship, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate problem to have, but what makes us stronger is being able to lend that hand, you know,
Right.
only to reach down to lift someone up.
Right.
And that's what we've been so fortunate to have from other orchestras all
Right.
over the country. And, you know, we're taking that hand, we're taking that advice, we're
Right.
taking the initiative.
Right.
And from that, you know, that's where this season came from.
Right. Right. I mean, we had, you know, the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts was so helpful.
Yeah.
You know, I met with the head of that, Philip Horn, who has been very supportive of us. And he actually gave me, like, a stack of books that my husband pulled out for me today. He's like, by the way, you might want to read all of this. And I'm not even joking. He gave me, like, 4 books, and they're, like, all this tall. And I'm like, I can't reread all of it in the
Right.
next, you know, hour
Right.
and a half, but good thinking.
Yeah.
But just again, we've had nothing but support from Pennsylvania Council of the Arts, Lackawanna County Arts Program, all of our artistic partners here. You know, the Theater at North, Wyoming SEM, the Kirby Center, Cultural Center, Theater at Lackawanna, everyone has just been, how can we help you?
Right.
Not, oh, sorry, you're having a rough time. Catch you around.
Right, and that's why, I mean, I think that's really why we've been so forward about continuing the season and setting up all these events, is that we're not fighting against the grain here. I think that,
Right.
you know, people definitely do want this experience and want to have a Philharmonic, so, you know,
Yeah.
and just to see that is so reassuring.
Right. Even, you know, there was one Pops concert I just thought of that, you know, I went with my husband, my in-laws, and my father-in-law is a trombone player. And we're sitting at dinner before going over to the theater, and he goes, wait, so, like, what music are we hearing? We're hearing Latin music? Oh, like, who picked that? You know, because again, not everything is for everyone.
Right.
And at intermission, he's like, man, this band is great. I love these guys. They're so great. You know, I'm so glad you guys could come with us. And I'm like, wait,
we
wait,
invited you.
wait, we came with you? And I was like, I thought you didn't want to see this. He's like, who told you that? you know, but just because he got so wrapped up in it that once you finally heard it, it's like, well, who wouldn't want to be listening? Who wouldn't want to be here right now?
Right.
You know,
It's that initial trying to get them in the door.
That's what it
the
is.
biggest,
Right.
the biggest challenge.
Right.
No one ever is walking away like, oh, that was all right. Like, no, it's always
Right.
really fantastic, you know?
Right.
I feel
But
like
it-
there's a perception that everyone's there with, like, fur scarves or fur coats.
Right.
Right.
The gloves on.
Right.
They're all
With,
much,
like, the
much
spectacles,
older.
like, looking
Right.
Very good. Yeah.
Indeed, good sir.
It's like
Good show.
Bravo.
Soft clapping.
Bravo. Yeah.
and that perception, like, I think totally kills it.
Right.
You know? So
yeah,
like,
it can.
yeah.
But we
But
get
it's not like
families
that, right?
coming, like, you can
Right.
bring your kids, like,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? It's a great opportunity
Yeah.
to expose your children to
And actually,
music and
for all of our Masterworks programs, children come free to all of
Yeah.
our Masterworks
so
programs.
it's really encouraged. I mean, it's not this stuffy atmosphere.
Right.
You can pretty much, I mean, people show up wearing whatever they want.
Right, like,
you know,
yeah.
it's
Jeans and a sweater,
Yeah,
and
whatever.
and there
And
are
I
people
think-
who show up in, like, very nice, delicate
Right,
outfits.
sure.
And then there are people who show up in, like, boat shoes and jeans, and they're like, yeah, like, I got off work, but, like, we're
I'm
all
here,
here for
yeah,
the
like-
same thing.
But that's
Right.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really is.
Yeah, like, there's always a smoking section, like, during intermission of, you know, so it's...
yeah, nobody is putting on airs.
Right. We've even joked about, like, maybe we should get, like, a section roped off so we can have, like, a tweeting section. You know, like you can bring your phone as long as you like live tweet during the concert about how great it was.
There you
I was
go.
like, I think that might be worthwhile to look into.
Well, that's a tough cookie to break into too. Is the millennial crowd, the teens and 20-somethings, that kind of thing. They might, they're in that middle ground where they might not understand that they're really going to like this, or that they know a lot of the music going in. I think that's another thing. Is classical music and orchestra music is used in so much media that is bombarded, in your face every day. I mean, I grew up with Looney Tunes. And so much of that was embedded in Looney Tunes that if I were to go to a show like this, I'm always like, oh yeah, I know that from this.
But didn't you love it?
Oh, I loved it.
But didn't you love it?
Absolutely.
So even like children, like you just made the best point of this entire thing. Classical music was the backdrop of Looney Tunes.
Exactly.
Like it's
not
so
to mention
accessible.
so many movies and things too.
Yeah. Movies, commercials, it doesn't matter. It's everywhere around us. You just don't ever get it in the level of concentration that we're offering.
Right.
And
it's classical and something else. It's never just the focus on the classical. It's almost like that's that like secondary.
Right. It's the frame.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sold.
You're going?
Come on. You gotta.
Yeah.
Did I see too that there's a I know it got canceled earlier this year. It was Video Games Live.
Oh no, the Kirby Center is
and
putting that
they're
on.
doing it again. Like they're going to they rescheduled it and everything. Now is the Philharmonic still involved in that?
That is a Kirby Center project, not a Philharmonic project.
Okay.
But that is going to be spectacular. We do have members who have been involved with that.
That's what I'm
yes.
Some of the Philharmonic members will play with that.
Right, but it is not a Philharmonic.
Right, no, it's not a Philharmonic.
But
event,
we will have our
people
musicians playing in that, and
which is another example of there's so much great video game music as well.
Right.
And video games are so popular now. They're now they're making more money than a lot of movies are nowadays.
Right.
Like blockbuster movies are not doing what they should anymore in terms of box office.
Right.
So everybody's staying home now. It's not. It's much easier to just watch it. Streaming at home on Netflix than it is to go to the theater. But video games, sell so much. Billions of dollars go into these games. They're big productions now, very movie-like, and they need scores and everything else. Just like,
they have bigger budgets for it. Than, they really do.
Yeah, they have voice actors and everything else, and full storylines and everything too. So I think people kind of when we're talking about media and everything, they don't think about video games, but in reality, it is actually not only big business, but a lot of that music is in there as well. Especially these big epics now. They have these war epics and things like Halo and everything else that have all this great music in it, and people don't think about that part of it.
Like someone actually sat down and composed that and brought in professional musicians to play those pieces.
Right, exactly.
And
they take it for granted. And this, same with any big blockbuster movies that you've seen in the past year.
Like how boring would Jaws be without?
That's the other thing. Like you take that music out of those movies, and you're like, oh, this is.
Right. Your first shot of Hogwarts doesn't feel as special without that fluty overtone.
There are a lot of movies that have been saved by the music.
Absolutely.
Star Wars being one of them, especially the original film. There were, when they were screening original cuts of the movie, they're like, this is not, And then the editors came in and they added the music and everything, and like, okay, now we get it.
Right.
Contextualize
because it gives you feeling.
Right. Same with Jaws. Very important to the actual build up of the tension and everything that's going on there.
But it covers up that bad acting really.
Like those laugh tracks.
So much better than a laugh track.
Yeah. Especially when the legs floating through. Like,
it's totally necessary.
Yeah.
Well, I think the issues that you guys have come across in the past year speak to a general problem across the country with arts funding being in danger. People say you shouldn't get political, but I think there's no better time to get political than when it comes to the things that you care about. And, it's very clear that Donald Trump's budget and the Republican budget cuts into arts funding dramatically, and
Right.
the things
That's
that
not
they're
fake news. That's
proposing-
facts.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
He can say that all he wants.
Right, and
but-
that's fine. You know.
and the thing is people don't see that because they're maybe so focused on national politics, they might not mention local politics as
Right.
well. We saw the same thing kind of subtly happen, and we reported on it. A lot of people may have missed it, but Lackawanna County was kind of on that border too.
Oh yeah, in a
Right,
very
that was
big way.
two years
about 2
ago.
years
They
ago, it was
almost
like
cut the
chopping
artistic
block.
funding, but at the same time, like Luzerne County doesn't even have arts funding.
Right, exactly. Now,
So-
and Lackawanna has been very good with that kind of stuff, and but then you had a Republican come in the past year, Lauren Cummings,
Lauren Cummings, yeah.
who she kind of she did it in a very subtle way, and she's one of these politicians, and there's a million of them, Trump included, who think they're smart but they're really not. And she's like, well, I just want to be able to review the funding and see what these projects are before, and it's like, well, that's already done.
Right, that's why we have boards.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They already have
reviewing
they
the
have an
funding.
arts department that comes in and reviews the projects and then
Yeah.
doles out the funding. What she was trying to say was, I want to be in charge of that, so I can say, well, I don't like this person and I don't like that person, and I think that this person's a little too liberal for me, so they're not going to get any arts funding this year, and that kind of thing. And I think she would slowly gut it, just like a lot of these politicians do.
You know what? I'm not sure that would happen in Lackawanna County.
Not
just
not
because
not as
so
much
ma-
danger right
just,
now.
Just because so many people
But
went
the
that
fact that she
wa-
even tried is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, you know what? But I was talking to Chelsea, and it was right before I joined the board, and I was like, I joined the board pretty much as like the
In
day that
crisis
we
mode.
announced,
Yeah.
that that we were going to go dark for the season,
Right.
And it was an honor to be invited at that time, truly. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
was like, so Chelsea, like, what are you telling people? And I'm like, what am I?
What
supposed
line
to
did I
say?
give
Yeah,
you?
like- And you were like, I just tell people like, well, it's the arts,
And it's true,
like, it's kind
though.
of like enough said, like,
Right.
Right.
Well, like, yeah, it's the
Right.
arts, like
Because
it's being
peop-
cut all the time, it's under
Yeah.
threat all
Right.
the time.
Not only that, ever since I
That's what
joined
it
the
is.
board, people have been like, "Oh, like how's the Philharmonic
Like,
doing?"
what's going on? Yeah,
And
but it's like
and
it's
that's
struggling
true.
like every other
Right.
arts organization in our country always.
Right.
Sure.
Because I mean, it's something that's not seen as
Necessary.
necessary or functional.
But at the same time, apparently neither are roads. So
Right.
I mean, I mean, let's look at how
Right,
those
yeah.
are maintained.
Yeah,
and
that's I mean,
But
crazy.
like we had a couple of weeks ago when we had Ryan Nat on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about how really art has had such a positive impact, especially on a city like Scranton, economically.
Yeah.
And that's
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
something that people don't take into account. They don't
Right.
realize that, well, yeah, people are coming into the city. They're
Yeah.
spending money because they're here for art.
Right.
Because they're here for a band, because they're here for an
Exactly.
Right.
artist. Because they're going to First Friday, they're maybe hitting some stores that are small businesses that never would have gotten that traffic otherwise if it wasn't for First Friday.
Arts
Right.
change entire communities, cities. I mean, and quickly. It really, it doesn't take all that long. I know Ryan with the mural project that's going on. I always think of like the Wynwood district in Miami, which was basically like uninhabitable. Like it was where you didn't go
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Miami, and then all of a sudden, some great people came in and said, there's a lot of blank space here. There's
Yeah.
a lot to work with, and all of a sudden, it's like the hottest place to be. You can just look at Art Basel, which just happened last week, and where was everything really going down? Wynwood. It was
Yeah.
like where everybody was like shopping and partying and hanging out, and like that was the place to be. Where a couple years ago, like 5-6 years ago, like you really,
Right.
you wouldn't go.
Right, but it's just like
and-
if you want
but the tourism
economic,
is crazy.
right,
Yeah.
you want economic development to come in. Well, then you need to give people something more to do than just work. So you
Right.
need to have the arts here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we don't have
You need
the
to give
arts,
people a reason to stay.
right, right,
You have
because
people come in and drill oil and leave, but like,
Right.
what makes people stay?
Right.
It's, it's
Right.
entertainment, it's arts, it's engagement with other people, it's
Right.
like-minded people. It's
and same thing with even like our park system, things like that. It's all necessary.
yeah. We're so much more than just like working and going home and, like money and capital, you have to enjoy your life. Like, you have to have some...
You need care for your soul.
The arts isn't going to hurt you. Like, it's it's your life. Like, nothing's going to be like, the music, like, that sculpture's like, like, it's like, you're only going to probably have, like, at worst, an experience where you're like, that wasn't my favorite thing. Right. And then you're going to be unharmed.
Right, exactly.
It's like more than I can say for anything else in this world right now.
You will leave unscathed. You won't have to talk to your therapist about it. Like,
so much better than just your normal day.
Right. You probably won't have to, like, pop a Valium or anything. Like,
you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
And when you think about how little money it costs people, like, people's, you spend millions of dollars on federal arts funding or whatever, and it's like, yeah, but it works out to what, a couple of dollars a person, if that?
Oh my gosh,
sometimes it's only a few cents.
Yeah, like,
so in the long run,
especially for the value that it's providing,
right?
It's insane.
Yeah, I think people are so worried about costs and they see big numbers and things like that.
Right.
Meanwhile, these same people can't balance a budget.
Right. And in our
everything
case,
else,
with the
and,
Philharmonic, we're only at, like, our top ticket is $72.
Right.
Top ticket.
Yeah.
Like, that is the most expensive ticket we have.
Which,
like,
your average arena show nowadays.
Right. Right. How expensive is a Taylor Swift ticket?
Right. Exactly.
Priceless.
Ooh. I'd bet my reputation on it.
Oh.
I wouldn't.
I'm sorry.
So what are your biggest challenges going forward now? Now that you have an idea of where you're going and what the issues are and things like that, now that you've worked it out, where are you headed now at this point? What do you think you might face coming in?
I think the biggest challenge for us right now is just PR. Just reminding people that, like, we are here, we are staying relevant, and also just reminding them that none of this happens without the community support. And we are very fortunate. Quill Creative is actually setting up for us a fundraising page on Facebook that should begin accepting donations within the next 2 weeks. So you can, do a donation drive for your birthday or, for Friday because it's a great day. Why not? But so we're trying to get more engaged with the community because that's who we're doing this for. That's who we want to engage with, and we're just hoping that the community will continue to engage with us. So our biggest challenge is just staying in front of everything and making sure that people know that we're here, that we're relevant.
And that we're not going anywhere. It's decided.
Yeah.
It's done. We're just going to keep moving forward. We've had great support at these events and these fundraisers throughout this year. And it's actually, it's done so much good for us to really take a look and take a temperature on where is our support at? What do people like? It's almost nice to have, the pressure's on, but the pressure, we can look at everything through a different lens now.
Right.
And really sort of do, take this year as a market study and as, to see where we lie in the community. And I think that's really, it's such a beneficial year of growth for us more than anything.
Right. And I mean, we've had some really hard conversations. We've had some really long meetings.
Yeah.
We've had some big, debates go on. And now we're sort of the woods are clearing. There's a path that's coming out in front of us that's becoming more and more clear and more and more exciting.
Right. I feel like we're through the worst of it.
I
think committing and knowing that, your sponsors are behind you.
Yeah, like we're past the darkest part of the night.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
In terms of, getting the word out, I think, one problem that we always face as a publication, too, is people tend to like to share negative news more than positive news.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
when
so much
when the Philharmonic made this announcement, I swear it was immediately. I saw it all over. I saw it all over social media.
Yep.
Constantly, people sharing it and talking about it and whatever. And it's like, I have never seen so many people talk about the Philharmonic until it was in danger of going away.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I got so angry.
dead.
I was just like looking at Facebook.
Angry.
I'm like,
Okay, so where
Yeah,
was
like-
all this when
I
you
know,
know
you
they
were
were doing
paying
all these other
attention.
great
Yeah,
shows?
right. And especially, I mean, the best and worst part about it was like, no, not that was so many people been moaning the
Yes.
fact.
You're like,
Exactly.
oh, such a shame.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
like, wait, first of all.
Right. If it's such a shame,
We're
then
not
come
dead
back.
yet from,
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
that comment
Yeah.
like, oh, just another NEPA thing got gone or
Yes.
Yeah,
They-
like,
and they love to
Yeah,
say
we're
that. They
our
love to
newest
ring that
enemy,
bell
like
all the
that.
times. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Get out your violins.
Yeah.
Sing that sad song.
And I don't know,
no,
maybe that's the culture now. Everyone likes to say R.I.P. Insert celebrity here that died this week.
That is.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
That we like to constantly memorialize things that we
so
didn't
true.
seem to care about
Right.
too much 10 minutes ago.
Right.
you know,
It's like when Tom Sawyer faked his own death.
Right. All right, you're digging deep in the lyrics. See, I like that because I have an English degree. So
There we go.
I'm all
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. I mean, how sad
It's
was
a nice
Becky?
Right. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm over here like,
Who? No.
Yeah. Becky with the big
I
hair.
love that song. I love that song.
Yeah, Becky with the good hair.
Yeah.
How sad was she?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Got it.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but that's also great. It's kind of nice to hear. It's like, oh, you miss us, do you?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Ooh,
I think,
come back in.
Yeah,
No, it's
like no,
the
like
assholes who don't even know you're there are the ones that are bitching about it. That's the problem.
yeah.
Well, and they're the ones
Yeah.
who are saying like, oh, there's never anything to do in this area.
Oh yeah, that's like the word. That's the oldest line in the book.
It's
if
like,
I
no,
heard
you're
someone say
lazy.
that-
Get over it.
Yeah.
Like,
Like no, you must be sitting in a box
yeah.
somewhere.
I have too
Right.
much to do in this area.
Way too much
Way
to
too
do.
much.
Yeah.
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 We do want to we do have a viewer question from some Timothy Rixner.
Ah,
Oh, look at that.
Who could that
What
be?
I mean, I don't know if I really want to give this bum the time of day, but
Right.
I will.
Yeah,
in
well, let's
this
see what he
case.
has
to
We'll-
say.
We'll see what he
Yeah.
says. So he says the Philharmonic performs at a few different venues. What are Chelsea and Alex's favorite venues for the Philharmonic?
Well, I know yours.
WVIA? Are you trying to get me to do a SEM plug?
I'm trying to get you to a flag.
Well, I mean, the Kirby Center for Creative Arts is a spectacular venue,
Yes.
and I'm actually the theater manager and performing arts
Yeah.
marketing at the Kirby Center for Creative Arts, and I do love a concert
Yeah.
in there. I absolutely do. And
And I
it's
will say that is actually our viewer's favorite
It
performance
is.
space. That's his favorite space is.
Oh, yeah.
is really
Not
at
just-
Sam. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
he went
It
to the
is a
first concert there
gorgeous
without
theater.
me, and he came home and he was just like, that theater.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning. I think, yeah, and especially if you really know a lot about music, like Tim does,
Yeah.
you can tell how acoustically brilliant
Right.
that space is, and it's really like for a music love. Like Tim is so much more
Right.
advanced than I am in terms of music appreciation, but it is a fabulous space. I
Yeah.
really do. I love the Kirby Center for Creative
Yeah.
Arts with all my heart. I really do. It's absolutely
Yeah.
stunning.
But then close second.
But close second, I mean, really, WVIA, there's something about that space that
Yeah.
it's so special.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
You're just so close.
For me, I think it's the theater at North.
Yeah.
Just, I grew up seeing different concerts there and growing up with the choral society, like singing on that stage also.
That's really cool.
That, like, for me,
Yeah.
it's like so sentimental to
Yeah,
go
of
back there
course.
and like you just walk into this beautiful building and I love it there.
It's a great room.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is.
it
And like
is.
it's not a massive theater, but it has great acoustics
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that might be my favorite theater.
Cool. Now, is there anything else we want to get in before we wrap up with the final word?
You guys have to drink this beer though.
I don't.
Is it
I
the
don't know if
sour?
you do.
Well, it's the sour,
I just had a sip of it.
and I really like it. At first, I was like, "Wow, this is really strange."
It's got something in it, doesn't it? Like hot
Roofies.
like a pepper. Well, you always put roofies in it. I mean, I'm talking about something different.
You gotta try.
Well, that's good to know.
kidding.
This couch is really comfy, so I'll just.
Yeah, let me have some of your roofie
Roofies,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll find
This-
out in
this
about
tape-
5 minutes.
It was.
See, I'm not a big fan of sours,
I'll try
but I
the
just
weird
keep
beer.
trying them because I want
Well, the
to
thing
like
is,
them
like
so
it's
badly.
like a sour, but then it's not. It's weird.
And this is the Pizza Boy one? I feel like I had this.
This is the pizza. Very good. Pizza Boy Trodac. I actually had to look it up. This is really strange.
That's...
Wait for it, though. Wait.
Oh, yeah,
aftertaste.
that's hot.
Yeah, isn't
That's
it?
nice, though. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, I like a spicy cocktail.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm all about this.
Yeah, you love a Negroni.
See,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Or like a, jalapeno
Yeah.
tequila thing.
Yeah.
You know? Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. At first I was like, this is real good. And then the heat hit.
No, the
wow,
heat
this
is
is
great.
This should be good.
That
Wow. Beer Boys 3 for 3.
Wow. Well,
Very
let's go
impressive.
2 for 3. Let's go
Yeah.
2 for 3.
Yeah.
That middle one, you're
Yeah,
kind of
that
like,
middle
yeah.
one.
Not about, yeah.
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 I wasn't.
We're
too-
learning, though.
To be fair, I
Right,
wasn't
right.
too
We're
Learn
crazy.
about our taste.
Right, like right now I have doubled the amount of beer that I like tonight.
There you go.
I have now doubled the amount of beer that I like.
That's what we do here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's my contribution to this podcast.
That's
You're
really
wonderful.
a great contribution.
Yeah.
And a dead iPad.
Is there anything else that we should
This has
touch
been
on?
so much
or-
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. This is
Absolutely.
this
Yeah.
is just such a great platform to come on and talk about something that
Yeah.
we love so much and we
Right.
hope everyone else, loves
Well-
so much, and we're so excited for 1819.
I
It's gonna
know.
be
It's going to be
amazing.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It really, really is. I'm excited for everyone to experience it.
Right. Right. And one last thing that I know that was a question when you were posting about this on Facebook at first was, what does our future look like without our esteemed maestro Larry Lowe?
Yes.
So the timing of everything was seriously happenstance. I think we knew for a few years actually that Larry had been looking because hiring a conductor takes years, not like weeks. So this was a process that he had started well before we got to this point. And the timing just sort of coincided. And once we realized that, what, we are here and we are going to keep being here. First of all, we have an amazing assistant conductor, Melise Brunet, and she's sticking around with us. But with all of the reinventing we get to do, it's sort of a really exciting time to get to reinvent ourselves with someone new.
Yeah, it's really it's like bad timing, but it's also good
Right.
timing. I mean, you
Like,
kind of
first of all, everyone loves Larry.
as they
and,
should,
yeah,
because
as-
he's absolutely incredible.
right.
But also, I think that we should talk about that. That's a really common thing within the industry
Oh,
and
absolutely.
the profession as a
Yeah.
conductor. You move around,
Right.
Like my friend's father, has gone everywhere from Dallas to Amsterdam
Yeah.
to New York. Like
Yeah.
Jacques van Sweden's been everywhere.
Everywhere.
So,
Right.
I mean, that's something that, you have to take into consideration. It's not like, oh, he's leaving because we're not doing well.
Right.
No, it's totally part
Right.
of that. It's totally part of the gig.
Right.
You know?
I think Larry is now on to his 4th or 5th
Right.
orchestra as artistic director. And he is a young, incredibly talented conductor. So, I mean, this is not unheard of. It's actually unheard of for him to have been with us for 11
Yeah.
seasons, 12 seasons.
Yeah, he
Like,
was
that's-
there a long
He
time.
was
That's
there
a
a long time.
long tenure. So we're just so lucky that we had him for so long.
Exactly.
And that during this time when we need to reinvent ourselves, we get to do it in a new way with a new person. So it's sort of an
Yeah.
interesting opportunity that we have.
So are you having people fill in the meantime, or are you going to find somebody permanent before you really get
So
going?
we do have a plan in place. I'm just not sure I should speak
Sure,
it
yeah, you
yet.
can't talk about
Yeah.
it.
But it's definitely something that's been in the works since May.
Okay.
Right.
April, May. Along in May, the beginning of May
Yeah.
was when we first started talking about this.
Needless to say, we'll certainly have an absolutely fantastic person
Right.
in place ready for the
Right.
18-19 season.
Right.
I think that I'm sure that there's a number of really wonderful candidates.
Right.
You're far more involved in that process.
Right.
but-
There was never, when Larry announced that he was leaving, there was never a moment of panic of, oh dear good. That was
Like-
not one of our oh shit moments.
Yeah.
When Larry announced that
There
he
have
was
been a
leaving.
lot, but that's not one
But
of them.
that was
yeah.
not one of them. That
Yeah.
was, we were of course heartbroken to see him go, but also just so excited for him.
Yeah. He's been so wonderful.
Right. I mean, he's been so generous with the Philharmonic. He has made this his home. like, I'll miss his kids.
Yeah,
like,
his
his
whole
wife,
family's so
Jen.
wonderful.
Like, I love his wife. She's amazing.
Yeah, and he's such a charismatic
Right.
conductor too.
Right.
You know, he really he's so, you know, talk about marketing. You know, what a great, he's been so wonderful for us.
And there have been moments where,
it's not always the case.
you
with
know, our
conductors.
marketing people have said, you know, hey, here's what we want to do. We know it's a crazy idea. He's like, but wait, I can make it crazier. You know, like he's
Like,
always,
alright.
like
Yeah.
he always is willing to go beyond for us,
Yeah.
which has been amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll miss him immensely.
Yeah.
I think we all will. But I'm
Absolutely.
really excited to see where we get to go next.
Season is dark, future is bright.
There we go. That's the night of the
That's the
That's
line.
the best.
I can't believe you came up with
I
that.
know.
We're sitting here
I feel. I
Wow,
think
that's
it's.
really
I think it's the
smooth.
beer. I think it's the beer. It's
It's the
definitely
beer.
the beer.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
That's
My
what
best,
it
my
is.
best and worst ideas come from there.
Are both in the bathroom?
uh,
Because like best ideas usually happen in the bathroom too. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
bathroom in which sense though? Like where at?
We
the
don't need to. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty of
Let's
that.
get- I mean,
Why do
let's-
we have
let's-
to go there?
We're not
Why can't we
strategic,
just stick
right?
with
Why can't
beer?
you just yeah?
Because there's
Beer in
like
the
three.
bathroom.
Well, no, there's
College kids.
No. There's. I mean, I was just
Are
thinking
they?
different things.
I wasn't.
No,
No.
I had friends who did. They'd like take a shower and have
Oh,
a
shower
beer.
beers are
Oh,
the best
shower
beers.
beer's a great beer.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Don't be looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, when you kind of moved it into the bathroom, I was just thinking like three different areas in the bathroom, not including beer.
Right.
Shower beer. I don't like until tonight. I didn't even drink beer, and the first place I went to was shower beer.
Aren't you
Well,
excited
yeah.
to have a shower beer now? Like, this is something you can enjoy.
I know, but I think all I
It's
have
like
at
you've
home.
been to your first chamber concert.
I know, seriously. Except I think at home all I have is like stale Yingling.
Oh, God.
So
Don't drink that.
yeah, I'll have to go down to Beer Boys.
Yeah.
Ryan Nat's ear must have been ringing. He said, I'll direct the band.
Okay, good.
Oh God,
That's just what we all
Yeah.
need. That's perfect.
But I want to thank you guys for coming on the show because there's times that we've been doing this since like March
Yes.
that I may not have been like as pumped about each guest, but then I leave there.
But then
going,
you get
I was
into
like, holy shit, this was awesome. Like so,
Oh, thanks.
not saying that
thanks.
this was a moment here.
So you weren't excited? No.
I didn't know what to expect here.
No,
I
yeah, I
didn't
hear
know.
it.
Yeah.
But
But,
that's another like that common misconception. People are
Right.
like, oh, it's gonna be like
Right.
crusty and weird and like
Right.
boring.
Right.
And it's like, no.
See,
Like,
I could have worn my shirt.
You could have.
Yeah, like we have
saved
a
my
friend who's a
Saved.
professional truck driver,
Yeah.
and he works for a big company, and like he loves going to the
oh,
Philharmonic.
he like,
like
yeah,
yeah,
Dave
like
loves it.
like his wife will text me being like, "Hey, I need to get tickets." I'm like, "Great, like I'll like here's what you gotta do."
all walks
and
of life.
yeah,
You know.
That's cool.
yeah.
I can come
Oh, no, what was
dressed in
that?
jeans and a.
Totally, you could come like
Oh,
that.
yeah, you could
We
totally come like
accept you
that.
as you are.
Well, I mean, I wear a suit and tie every day to work. I don't want to go to.
Throw off the
put
put the
gloves.
put the tie around the hat.
Just don't forget that top hat that you
Yeah, and the
been waiting
cane.
to have. Yeah.
All right.
because then you can just stomp out your appreciation.
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
like. I think that they should just hand those out. To
I know. Especially if they
you?
do like a Gary
you?
Cooper night.
You? Oh God.
We should do a Gary Cooper night.
Let's set it up.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
All right. So
I'm done.
that's everything. Should I tell a story really quick, or should I save it for next episode? What do you think?
Well, I mean, at that point, it's way old, so you better do it now.
Yeah, I
if you
get-
don't, if you don't do it now, you
better
can't do it.
Yeah, all right. So, real quick, long story short, for our last word tonight, a lot of people have probably seen if you read the site and you follow us on social media, you probably saw it spammed 100 times that we were doing a fundraiser, which our fans surprised me on my birthday and said we would love to put on a fundraiser as a thank you for the last 3 years of
awesome.
working for us for free and doing all this stuff to help promote us. We want to help you in some way or another. So Jess Mione, who we've had on the show before, was kind of at the forefront of that, and a whole bunch of the open mic performers that we've had over the past 3 years got together and put together a benefit at the Backyard Ale House. Now, Backyard apparently was ill-prepared for what we had in store, which was not anything I thought that was that crazy, but they are just not used to doing these types of events. And there was a lot of miscommunication between Jess and the venue itself, the event planner there. So there was a miscommunication about how long we would be there and what the entertainment was and all that kind of stuff. So, I know I'm building this up like we had, strippers or something, topless lady burst out of a cake or something like that, but that was not the case. So we all got, the event ended up getting shut down because of a dick joke. I cannot make that up. So we thought that we were supposed to be there till 11. They thought we were going to get out of there by 9. So that was the first thing. Then we got there and found out, oh yeah, there's a band going to play outside. So then we started competing with a band that was also playing in the other room because they double booked. Then we found out they triple booked, and there was a 21st birthday party.
Oh, it's a 3-ring circus.
Yeah. So they all came in and they're like, well, we're not paying a cover. We don't even know what this is, So they're all, in the back trying to have their birthday party, and we're like, oh my God, like we're competing with 20 different things trying to do this event. So then the comedians got on, and the comedians, as you if you've been to our events or if you've gone to any of the open mic events or if you've seen the live stream, they get a little dirty sometimes, and they tell some dirty jokes. And Russell Austin, who I will plug because he was watching earlier.
The devil?
He's watching right now.
Was he Satan though?
He commented cluster fudge, which that's pretty much what it was. So he does his famous joke about dicks, and essentially that was too much for these people. They were like, nope, shut it down. That's it.
Yep, you can't talk about the sporting goods store here.
And it's like, well, to me that was kind of funny because that's too far.
I slay myself.
No balls and jerseys here.
Yeah. No product placement.
Yeah, that's out of line. Move it along. Get out of here.
Which is really funny because, when all the bros come over from levels to have a few drinks, I'm sure they're telling way worse jokes than anything that Russell said. But I digress. So they said, all right, we gotta you gotta pack it up or whatever. Now, thankfully, Jen, who's the owner of the Keys, happened to be there. It was like her one night off, and she decided to come out and support us, which was really cool. And she's like, I can't believe this is happening. Why don't we all just pack up all our stuff and go over the Keys, which was right down the road. So we're like, all right, great. So we grabbed all our raffle items and our performers and everything else, and we finished the night over there. So it was a little crazy and chaotic, but Jen came to the rescue and saved us that night. So that was awesome. And we got a few more people to give to the raffle because of that. So the night was we were starting on a bad note to begin with because all the snow. That really kept people out. Like, downtown was a ghost town. Nobody came out for anything. It wasn't just us. It was every venue in downtown was empty. So it was a tough night to begin with, and then we had to contend with that. So we still made a few bucks, and we all had a fantastic time. Everybody, I think left smiling and was pretty happy. Myself included. So
good.
So it was a good night overall. But obviously, we didn't have a specific goal in mind or anything like that. But we love to have gotten a few more people out. A lot of people who wanted to come just weren't going to come because of the snow, and that's fair because there were parts of 81 that were shut down completely. Because
It was a mess.
Yeah, people were driving off the road.
Oh,
There was accidents all over.
I was driving back from New York that day, and it was like 380 was I was like white knuckling
On Saturday?
it the whole time. Yeah.
I was drinking on a yacht.
Chelsea lives a really hard life.
These Philharmonic people,
Maybe you should
Way to
donate more.
perpetuate the stereotype.
Jesus.
Okay, it wasn't mine.
Way to kill the whole vibe here.
Mascot on.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I was hanging out in Newport
Alright.
Beach. And
Right.
We need your support. I'm on a yacht.
I'm on a boat.
I'm just
Okay,
saying,
all
there
right,
was no
settle
snow.
down.
It was
Just
like
stop
80
talking.
degrees.
Stop. I told you to stop. We're all here like, goddamn snow.
Like, I
20
almost
degrees.
crashed my car. I was on a yacht.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
Enough for you. Shut it down before she gets
Shut it down.
Beer's making me rowdy.
Skin body. Yeah.
So in other
Rowdy,
words,
get the hook.
if you missed your chance, please come out this Tuesday. We really want to pack the V spot on Tuesday for the final showcase. It's going to be great. There's 13 original acts, not only from Northeastern Pennsylvania, but one from Jamaica, if you can believe it.
Yeah, man.
Two guys from Jamaica, like straight off the boat, the thick accents and everything. They completely blew away our audience. Like really, really great stuff. Awesome music. I don't know why is it so funny? They were like literally.
People from
came
here
here.
had never seen someone from Jamaica. I mean, they were probably just.
Oh yeah, like
Like, oh, no.
on a Tuesday night in a bar in Scranton, like people
I
were
guess
just like, "What is this?"
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
strange. I love to get their story, and I will on Tuesday because I love to figure out why. Like, I'm like, you guys didn't come here for this, did you?
No.
Yeah, and they're like, no. Like, okay, all right, thank God, because that would be really weird.
From Jamaica.
Yeah, they came from
They're
Jamaica
like, "Holy
for
fuck,
an open mic
there's
at
this."
in a bar in Scranton. That would be pretty crazy, but
That's
they're
awesome.
really impressive. But there's so many good acts from right here in Northeastern Pennsylvania. So please come out on Tuesday and show your support, not only for them, but for us as well. And that's the whole thing.
But how funny would it have been if, like, let's say someone was in Jamaica with an NEPA Scene T-shirt on, right? Let me paint a picture.
Right.
We're walking through on the beach playing volleyball. Someone and they saw the shirt.
That's
And they're like, what
you
is
never
that? And they say, well, it's this awesome open mic night thing. It's blah blah blah. Fuck, we gotta go.
And they just got on
Yeah,
a plane
just
and
jetted.
and flew.
Their boat, the boat,
Or boat.
the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. But the other thing I should mention too is that Backyard did reach out to us like literally hours after the fact, apologized, said that they handled it completely wrong, admitted complete fault of everything that happened and transpired that night and the way they handled it, and they offered us a substantial donation to make up
That's
for it.
wonderful.
That's really
So,
great.
so I don't want people to come away from this like, oh, screw those guys and never go there or anything like that. We're not in the business of crapping on any local business around here, but especially those guys. You know, I go there to eat all the time, so I would never, shit on them or anything like that. But they're really nice people, and they did make up for it. So, apology accepted and all that. But it was a crazy night.
Shit happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. So obviously, if we do it again, it will probably be at the Keys. So,
Let's do it again.
so thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your questions and thank you to our guests for being
Thanks
on
for
here.
Thank you
tonight.
for
having
having
I
us.
think it
This
was
was
night.
a lot
Very
of fun. Yeah.
fun and informative.
Yeah.
Great.
Have a good night, everybody.